take your time. Obviously, you guys know Debbie. So maybe you want to start and tell us.
I don't know. There's a lot of agents I don't know in this
exactly.
office anymore.
So now they're going to know you.
Okay, what do you want to know? Debbie Curry. I'm on your ALC here.
Right. Going to be very active in both the LA West Side's market as well as Ventura. Right?
County, yeah.
And how long have you been in real estate?
Like 12, I want to say 12 years.
12 years.
Maybe more. Yeah.
Great. Richard.
Yes.
Richard is...
Hello. Hello.
Santa Monica office.
Yeah, Santa Monica. I used to be at the West Side office. I've been doing real estate for 10 and a half years. I'm pretty sure today is actually my anniversary with KW.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I didn't get flowers or anything, but I think today is 8 years with KW, so it's been a good run.
Well, you're being very humble, but I have to tell you something to know more about Richard. Richard has actually been one of the top 0.1% of the company. Has been ranked as number 3 in 2013 last year, number 5 in 2012 overall, and also number 1 in 2012 in the Southern California region, and number 1 selling and listing agent in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013.
Touch you.
So,
I know, right?
you got one of the top tiers, so I can't believe I got you here today. I'm sure
That's
very,
awesome.
very busy. Diana, you've
Hello.
met with Diana before. What can you
Diana
tell us?
Torres. I'm from Hollywood Hills office on the Sunset. There's 2 locations there in the Sunset office. I've been selling real estate for 14 years. Have 3 children, happily divorced.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have that part.
What else do you want to know about me personally?
How long? So, where were you before, and were you in Coldwell Banker before?
Correct.
Right?
Previously with Coldwell Banker. Hello, Tracy.
Hello, how are you? I'm so
Good,
sorry.
good.
Go ahead.
We just started, so that's okay.
So with Coldwell Banker previously, been with KW going on my 4th year. Love it, love capping, so much fun. That's
awesome.
it, yeah.
Thank you. And we just had Tracy walked in, which is great. Tracy Smith with
Yes.
KW Calabasas.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself and your team.
Let's see. My husband is my partner, David Smith. We've been in business together about 8 years. We've been with Keller Williams in Calabasas since it opened, which was about 4 years ago. And what else? We have 2 kids.
Kids.
2 kids.
And you reside in Calabasas, right?
We do, yes. We reside in
Excellent.
Calabasas. Came all the way over here. And traffic was terrible. Sorry.
Can you give me a little bit of an introduction about where you are with your business right now in today's market? Again, it's a conversation, so you don't have to wait for a turn. You can jump in anytime you want, and we kind of go around.
Well, I'll start.
There you go, Dave. Thank you.
Because I'm always the first in the food line. Well, as a lot of you know already, I had some issues this year health-wise, and so my business is at a point where it's rebuilding. But because of the health issues, I really had to kick it into gear because it took a chunk out. I had to be even more strong about going after the business and rebuilding it. So, and it's working. And I have 3 escrows going now, getting 1 or 2 more listings coming up, so it's working. And it's to prove that you can balance everything, even if one side takes over a little heavier than the other side, how to keep it going.
Right. Richard.
I run a team out of the Santa Monica office, so we have a few buyer's agents. We have 3 buyer's agents, a couple sort of in between buyer's agents and admins, and we have 4 full-time admins in the office. So, and summer's very busy for us. So.
And are you keeping up with your track record, or you're always trying to beat yourself up?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not moving forwards, then it's not a good thing. So, it's. The national market for KW has been more competitive over the years, so I hope that we can place again this year.
Awesome. So, thank you. Diana.
Business is good. Summer's good. I'm having a great year. I think what's different from this year versus last year is a lot of my clients have become investors. They were just the regular person, they have their career, but they're buying more real estate this year. So I seem to be selling more of the condo for the son, the daughter, the nephew, the cousin. It's all good. best advice I can give people in today's market is get used to inventory in all shapes and sizes, because you just never know.
Okay, thank you. Tracy, how's your team doing?
It's doing wonderful. What we're finding is because of the shift, we feel that there's a shift this year, big time, where things are sitting on the market longer, especially out where we are in Calabasas, is you have to tell your sellers they need to be patient. And you have to, we're finding we have to interview them as well for a listing, because we want to make sure they're ready to sit it out and they're not going to get scared after 60 days if it's not selling. So I think that's where we are right now, is we're trying to interview as well our listings and making sure that they're ready to be serious and wait it out.
Realistic. Yeah.
And they're realistic, and prices just aren't the same. They were flying off last year. And
I like doing these panels because you get to see a set of top agents and learn from their vision, their mission, and their values, and their models and system primarily. So there's a seat here available, if you want to have a seat here. I don't know who those are. But. So today, throughout this conversation, hopefully we'll be able to discover some of your systems and models, and thank you for sharing them with us. But ultimately, what is your guiding factor in establishing the mission of your business, the mission of your life, and how do you keep track of that, and how do you stay ahead of that?
Your business plan.
Your business plan.
Your business plan. You got to have 3 business plans. One for your actual income, one for your family, and one for yourself, your personal life. Where you want to be, what do you want to do?
Okay. When do you do your business plan?
In November for the coming year, but you tweak it as you go, because things come up and you can't just put it in a drawer. You have to make sure that you look at it and you adjust it. You don't adjust the number, never adjust the number, but you have to adjust sometimes how you get there. I do a very detailed business plan. I'll say I want to make this much money, and what do I have to do to make that much money? Right down to how many condos do I have to sell? How many, houses do I have to sell? At what price point do I have to sell? At what, so I know where I can negotiate and where I can't. Same thing with my family. Where do I want my kids? They're going to school, they go to private school, and what are my tuition bills are going to look like this year? And, what extras are they going to need? What trips am I going to do? And personal-wise, fitness, what do I want to look like in a year? And who do I have to hire to help me do that?
Right. So 3 business plans: personal,
Yep.
business, and
Family.
Yeah.
I do something similar. I use the sort of like the one thing model, but very similar to what you're saying. And I keep it on a Word document on my laptop. And then what are my goals for basically the same aspects of my life, and continually look at them and modify them. And I actually change my goals sometimes.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Usually,
You have to
hopefully,
adjust
upperly revising them, but sometimes not. But I like to keep it front and center so I can see it all the time to see what I'm focusing on.
And as a matter of fact, this year I started just to help myself, because I did loftier goals this year, and I wasn't giving myself enough credit at the end of the year of what I've accomplished. So as soon as I've done something and I've accomplished it, I'll write it down on a piece of paper, throw it in an envelope, and put it somewhere so that at the end of the year I can look at everything that I've done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Jason.
as well as the simplistic of bold. Bold's philosophy, 20 phone calls a day. So if you feel like it's a slow week, you get on the phones, you get out there, you just simply ask, do you know anyone buying or selling a home? It's that simple, even though it seems more complex some weeks when things are challenging.
Right.
You just got to get back on the phone.
Did you want to?
What was the original question?
Basically, what is your guiding
the
factor
guide-
in establishing your vision for your business or business plan?
Well, and I'll go along with Diana as being single, and it's you don't have that supporting factor of another person at home and all of that stuff. You get trapped in a where you work all the time, and if you don't force yourself to balance that out, and there is no balance, but if you don't have the plan of okay, like I'm a checklist person, so on a computer it's great, but I'm never going to look at it. So I put it on a paper, and it's literally I want to visit so many friends this month, or I have to work out so many times a week, or whatever it is. And then I check it off. So I see at the end of the month that I've done everything I wanted to do in that month or whatever. And that's both in business and in personal. So how many appointments did I go on this, or how many calls did I make, and into the personal, and plan your trips. If you want to go somewhere and you don't have money, there's trips you can go on without a lot of money. So you have to have the break or you burn out.
Right.
And we know we burn out fast and hard.
You have that.
And then you have your health issues.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute because obviously we have something to talk about it. Who do you communicate your vision and your business plan with or to, and how do you communicate it to your immediate family, and how do you make sure they support your vision?
Well, I used to communicate it with you a lot. And I miss that.
Exactly what I was going to say.
know.
Oh, Cristian David, you're right there.
Well,
Duh.
and we had posters that we used to put on the back of the door, remember? And when we achieved that one big goal, you remember you were there, that was a big part, that was a $10 million sale. He helped me achieve that. I do, because I have my husband, partner, and, with the same thing with children, you want to, private schools and what you want them to achieve. My daughter wanted to do Girl Scouts, but I want her to take piano lessons. So this year they're picking 3 things that they're allowed to do after school. So, you have to, have your vision for everything for them. Girl Scouts is great, but I was like, now it's piano.
Is it too young for you to communicate that vision of your life with them together so that they could support it somehow? Or you to communicate that with them to them, or how?
My children are 7 and 9. I find because I'm not a single parent, my kids seem to be more immature, where I think single parents have more mature children. So even though we're trying to relay that, I came from a single parent household, so I was much more mature. I was much more Johnny on the spot, new things. So in one sense, you're trying to, but it's in its softer version, I think. Your kids have to step it up,
Yeah, I don't sugarcoat a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah, I don't sugarcoat a lot. I tell my kids, my favorite thing, they'll see my sign up and, we wave to my sign and they go, "Hi, Diana Torres." And then the sign comes down the house cells and they're like, "Mom, we can't see you. You got to put more signs up so that we can see
sign's
you."
not up, we don't see
Yeah,
you.
it's awesome.
Wow,
And then
so
they're with
they
their
actually
dad and they're
notice.
like, "Hey, it's Diana Torres." And he's like,
Yeah.
So, I tell my kids, and when that condo sells, then we're going to go to Hawaii, and then we're going to go do this. So they get involved with my business. There are times that I have to go out for a showing, and I let them know I've got to go for a showing. So I have to do. Well, how long going to be? I go, "Shoot, I don't know. I'll be back in an hour." But you have to. I don't know. I keep it so real with them that they get it, and they celebrate a closing with me.
Right.
They are so happy when I say, "Okay, we're going to Hawaii." "You sold the Pasadena house?" "Yes, we leaving."
Wow, they even know the address.
They know. Oh yeah, my kids have it down. So my son
Well, so
wants
one
a
of them
car.
is actually
and-
helping you with your mailings.
Yeah. Oh, I
Right?
make them stuff envelopes.
Yeah.
And I child labor. I believe in it 100%.
Yeah.
People say, "Who do you hire?" I'm like, I don't. It's part of
They
their
pass out
chores.
licking envelopes.
Or then I'll give them $10. It's amazing what $10 can get you.
Oh, I know.
I know, a child's the best labor. Mine are gone now, so I can't use them anymore.
Maybe you can rent out Diana.
I know.
But I
Why-
firmly believe it. I think you get the more people you get involved, the more you reach out to your friends and say, "Look, I want to do this. How can I do this?" Then they start to support you. And then it's that another reassuring phone call. And I know if I've reached out to somebody and I told them what I'm going to do, I don't want to hear myself say I didn't do it to that person.
So they have a buy-in to it.
Correct.
Basically. Right. Excellent. Richard.
My oldest kid is 2, so I can't. She has no idea.
Never too early.
So,
Put him to work.
how old is it?
Christian,
They have to be to do the envelopes. 3, maybe.
Our
Stamps
kids
will
come
be a
into
little
the
regular.
office. We have a section in our office that they sit and they're in there all the time. And we pick them up from school and they usually come and do their homework in a section of the office. And there's a few of us in there, and then we
Right.
kind of just pass the kids around, watch them.
Is your wife involved in the same
She
business?
works on in the business with me. She does a lot of the marketing stuff.
Okay.
As far as the goal setting and group accountability, I sort of feel that I'm the only one who can really hold me accountable to what I need to get to. Everyone on the team knows our sales goal for the year of what we're trying to get to. But ultimately, I'm responsible for that. So I have to hold myself accountable, and then everyone below me has to be held accountable too.
That's wow.
So.
Family and real estate business, right? There's two big animals there, right? Can one take priority over the other? And if yes, how do you?
Well, I think we all want to say, well, of course, family takes
Family comes
priority,
first.
of course. But the reality is you have to learn to integrate your life, which includes your family, into your work. And you have to plan for
How do you
everything.
make that call?
Well, I put up a yearly calendar, and you try and meet all your goals in a year. We have an entire wall of a year calendar, and you put in everything that you want. But I don't know if I answered your question.
You got to communicate. You got to
it's
communicate.
communicated, right?
You got to communicate. If I have to take a call and my kids are going crazy, I'll remind them that, look, we're not going anywhere after if I
Hawaii.
don't take this
Yeah.
call. And I remind them how lucky I am. You're so lucky that your mom just has to pick up the phone every now and then when she's with you while you're at the park. Don't give me crap about it. Like, I just got to take this call. Then we can play, whatever it is that you want to play. You got to tell them. You got to communicate with them so they get it. Kids are, they'll get it. Family will get it if you just communicate and say, I got to do this. Can I do that?
I remember my daughter once, my kids are 21 and 23 now, so, and my daughter said once to a friend of hers, my mom's always working. She's always working. She's always on the phone. You go to the grocery store, she's talking to somebody. And I had to stop and remind her just that. I'm like, but wait, look, I'm always at every game. I'm always at every horse
Correct.
show. I was the PTA president. I'm working all the time, but I'm also very involved in your life. And they don't question that at all. They know I've always been very involved in their life. They were the priority, but my business, and the reason we're in this business is it can fit through that, but it's not easy. It takes a lot of work.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I think you say that I think people say that real estate's a flexible job, and it's only flexible if you make it. Because I'm sure that you could work 12 hours a day,
All the
7 days a
time.
week without even thinking about it. But you have to say, okay, I'm a flexible job, so you know what? Sunday I'm not available because I have an open house, but Tuesday we can go out. I'll cut back on Tuesday,
Right.
and we can do something on Tuesday. One thing I do with my kids, she's really funny. She gets upset. She'll say no phone, no phone. She sees me with the phone, or no computer unless she wants to watch a movie on the computer.
Right.
But I get up early with my daughter. That way it's less busy, and I can have a good time with her.
Right.
But I think without making it seem too robotic, you sort of have to time block your family.
Right.
You have to say, okay, like tomorrow I'm doing family thing at 3:00, so that's time blocked family time. But Sunday I probably have to do an open house.
Right.
So
Correct.
Sunday afternoon's not all day family day, and I can't tomorrow say, well, Tuesday I have to cancel my family time. That's the same as a listing appointment to me.
Right.
It has to be kept there.
Wow.
Well, we're also incredibly lucky nowadays
Correct.
because you can do everything on a phone, where Debbie didn't have that luxury, I'm sure, with your kids. But, I mean,
Oh no, my daughter used to say that I text more than she does.
yeah.
So
But I mean, it's a joy to be, I love a 7:00 phone call. It's great. It gets me out of putting the kids to bed. I'm like, I got to take a call. See you later. Have a little extra time on your computer. So I actually really like the late night calls, the whatever anybody wants. I love to be available 24 hours in that respect, because I know that if I have to go to my kid's show at 11 in the afternoon, I can easily do that, and that's fine, and it works.
Correct.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was just reading over the weekend, and again, I go back to our favorite author, Brandon Bouchard, but he was talking about the 4 cornerstones of achievement. And they are desire, direction, discipline, and distraction radar. And without having those first 3, obviously the 4th one can be very influential in taking you off track from the activities that you plan on having to achieve whatever it is they wanted to achieve. So it made me think about, obviously you all have, and I can hear you all have certain things that you do that are must-dos, so your discipline, your direction, without having a direction towards your achieving your goals, that desire to achieve. So can you share with us some of those must-dos or some of the things you mentioned, some of them. What is it you're doing that keeps you on track with your business and your business plans as well as family? Like little things that you do, or
Well, you have to start from the top. You have to have your big why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this job where I'm available? All
that would be the
24 hours
desire,
a day.
right?
Why don't you have that
Yeah.
401k and the paycheck that
Right.
comes in every day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why are you doing this? And then you have to have, your big why has to make sense. It has to make sense. I do it so I can be flexible with my family and hopefully earn money so that we can do things that will make the kids happy and take care of the family. And then you just work backwards from there. Okay. It's like the one thing. Okay. So there's your big why. And, how am I going to achieve this today? What am I going to do right now to help get to my bigger goal?
And you're excited about your big why. You're not just, I have to do this. It's more like, this is what I want
Well, you have to be. If you're not excited about it, it's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Tracy?
I get excited when I'm able to pay for my kids' private school. I get excited when I'm able to purchase something big or do something great for my family. I get excited when I know, you're thinking of that clothes because you know what you're going to do with that money and you're really excited about it. So, I just driven, whatever you want to call it, I love it.
Right. Any disciplines that you have implemented, or any habits, would you hone in any skills that would allow you to stay on track with everything?
I think
Just like look at them.
Discipline, I don't know.
I know discipline's hard.
Discipline is hard. Yeah.
Yeah, colleagues.
I'm a huge reader. And I love to read books, and it keeps me focused. I love to read about other people's successes. We all know Brendan Bouchard. That's my, about once a week, I'll always watch one of his videos and just get a boost. I pick up a book all the time, and I love reading Forbes. I love reading about, okay, if they could do it, they have no more hours in a day than I do. I can do this. That's my big thing that I tell myself every day. You got this. You got it.
you can do it.
You can do it. You got it.
I love coming to these, something like this, like panels or other people hearing their experiences. I'm sure every one of you guys could be sitting up here at some point telling me something that I'm going to take away, and I would be ecstatic. Because, you've got to be able to take away from everybody.
Correct.
And, I'm going to go implement my 3 business plans when I leave.
It's everybody.
awesome.
You use what you listen to from others as a guideline. And you apply that to yourself. But to walk away and not apply that to what works for you is you're doing yourself a disservice. And I do that with every panel that I listen to, every article I read, whenever I get the opportunity to sit in front of somebody, one of my clients. One of my big clients is Vice President of DreamWorks. If I can get in front of him and sit, you've heard me have conversations with him, and I will pick his brain, not overpick, but he knows, and he enjoys it. He loves to be able to share his success with me.
I'm sure you all, like how you were saying, Richard, you set up your big why, and then you said, this is what I want to do, and then you say, how do I do it? So in order for you to get to the how, you start being curious about who do I follow, what kind of models and systems.
Well, a good business plan will have steps underneath to how to achieve it.
Right.
And that's, as Richard was saying, you tweak as you go along the way, because what might works and what you might think works when you first said, this is the goal I want to achieve. You don't alter the goal, but sometimes you have to alter the steps on how you get there. Because if it's not getting there quick enough, you have to revisit things.
He was saying that discipline is not a negative thing. It's a joyful habit of constantly pursuing your dream. Which I thought was a really constantly pursuing your dream. It's such a nice way of saying it.
You have to live out of your comfort zone. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable.
You can't be in real estate and be comfortable.
Correct.
Really.
Why is that?
Because it's ever changing. Every deal is different. Every client's different. You
Well
can't be
said.
rigid in it.
Well said.
Okay, so here's a question. What are some of the coping mechanisms that you, in dealing with unexpected life challenges, such as
Totally drinking.
a health
I am an
Sangria.
alcoholic.
scare,
Sangria's a summer drink. Sangria.
and while maintaining, you said in the beginning, while maintaining your high level of achievement, high level of success. So I'm going to start
You can
with you.
start with
'Cause
me.
You're right
Okay,
here
so-
next to me, but
So those of you that don't know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer this year. And so that's what I was dealing with this year. And at the beginning of it, you're just in doctor's appointments so much that it completely takes you out. And when I talk about being a single woman going through that, you don't have the support. So you're doing it and you really rely on your company, your ALC members, friends. My kids, luckily, my daughter came and stayed with me after my surgeries, so it was, but I also knew that I'm an independent contractor and I can't let that interfere. So I made the choice cancer had to fit into my life. It wasn't going to take over my life. And so
you
everybody,
time-blocked it.
so I time blocked cancer, yes. So I said, check. Okay, cancer gone, check. Okay, it's on my checklist. Okay, reconstruction, check. Okay, next. So, I mean, that's how I looked at it,
You were
right?
like, you were time blocking, and we blocked the times for you to have the appointments, and then 2 weeks
Surgeries
later,
and-
she was like, wait, I'm having a problem now because I have the doctor appointments. I have appointments, but they're doctor appointments. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
let's adjust that.
So my
Let's fix that.
legion's kind of taken up, and because I didn't have insurance, I found myself going through clinics and through the county system. So I was at USC, and so when you go there, you're there all day long for an appointment. It's not just an hour. You're there all day. It's like one time I was there for 8 hours for a 15-minute appointment. It was ridiculous. So and you don't have reception, so you can't get you can't get online. It was just horrible. So, I was in your office crying, going, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I can, how do I lead gen? Calling at midnight. But during it, I just kept pushing. And at what point was it that it started switching? And the biggest surgery was the reconstruction, which put me up for 6 weeks. But the day after surgery, I was in the hospital bed writing an offer on my computer. I just couldn't let it get me down. And so everybody here sits there goes, if we didn't know better, we would never know you went through anything because I made that choice.
You had 3 escrows opening during that time, correct?
I had two listings, 3 escrows, and buyers out there looking. So I had people set up to go show my buyers. I had them going out on open houses and calling me, and I'd be on the computer. My doctor was screaming at me because stress causes infections. And I'm like, but you don't pay my bills.
Right. So for you being a single parent or by yourself, you had to actually plan much more in advance to have your business going and then have something.
And I was
else
at
to come.
home. So, we can do this. We do it on the beach in Maui, and we can do it from a hospital bed, but you can't let things are going to happen. There's speed bumps in our life every day. And we can either, let it like ruin our, what is the suspension in our car, or we, keep it strong and keep going. Or, when you have an illness or something and it can take you down.
Putting on a spot now.
It can take you down big time if you let it. Or it could be something that makes you stronger. So.
Tracy,
I as well had breast cancer last year and had surgery and chemo, and my dear friend was with me through it all.
You can go through this with us.
This was family, people. I didn't know we were going gosh, I really don't know what to say about it. We chose not to really make it public to clients. We thought for us in business as well as family, because when people would see us, they would say the sweetest things when I was with my small kids, 6 and 8, and they'd go, I'm praying for you. And I'd be like, awesome, I'm praying for you. Because I didn't know what to do. It was overwhelming. The same thing with clients. You want to give them the best level of service. So the best thing for me, medicine-wise, was to stay focused on business and my family and not stay focused on the illness. So that's why we kept it quiet. It slowly started to seep out, and eventually we would let people know, but we wanted them to feel secure that we were going to take care of them and all their business needs as well. And, we've had many challenges since we've been in real estate, numerous, crazy. I'm sure you have as well, and you still will, and however you decide to deal with it is, you got to keep your business going, and that's what supports everything.
And it does help you get through it all, too.
It really does, really does.
Did you guys have any?
I have
like-
nothing to
Yeah,
say
I'm
after
not-
those. I have nothing to say.
You owe me a drink
Yeah.
on this
Right.
one. It's rough.
I think that the next time someone comes in your office and has an excuse about why they can't find a listing or find an escrow,
Yeah.
I think they probably need to get a much better excuse.
Well, that's why they're here.
Pretty incredible to hear that.
And and it's emotions. I mean, we deal with emotions all the time. Emotions such as fear and guilt and disappointment and loss of control and anger. Sometimes, those are feelings that we deal with. Hopefully, not on a daily basis because that's a lot to deal with. But it has a lot of impact on someone's life and someone's family, especially. You don't want to bring that into your family, your business. As highly productive and effective people, how have you overcome these emotions? And what are they actually, more importantly, what are they being replaced with?
I was gonna say, who overcame them?
Yeah. I think you have to learn how to not get emotional because your clients are going to be emotional and they're going to transfer that to you, and then you can't absorb all of the emotions. So you have to really focus on being non-emotional because that's really what you're being hired for. If a buyer and a seller could sit in a room together and be non-emotional, then there'd be no job for us. So we have to really focus on that. That being said, it doesn't always work, but you have to really train yourself to not, this is okay,
Right.
this will work its way out. I've done what I need to do. It's up to someone else now to do what they need to do.
And that
So
is,
the
yeah,
expectations.
I mean, it is very emotional and our job is to keep it. So we absorb their emotions and then we have to level it out and we have to be the level head in all of it, which wears you down. And so going to the gym or going for the walks on the beach or spending your family time becomes more important because otherwise then your body breaks down and you won't be there for anybody. So, right.
Go to the gym, put your phone in the car, and
Put the phone away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe check a couple times
Right.
during your workout.
Before and after, like if in Hawaii, I would I'd wake up at 5 in the morning because it's 8 here. So I'd wake up at 5 in the morning, check the computer. I'd be all actively working. Go to the beach, go zip lining, come back, check the computer again. But it would not go with me. You still can be on vacation and get your work done at the same time. You have to time block it.
Do you have anything?
Sounds good. I like Richard's. I'm gonna implement his non-emotion.
The last thing I wanted to bring back is the fact that we as a company obviously we have a lot of models and systems that you want to adopt and follow. And one of the things that really struck me and in knowing, well, I didn't know you very well, but I read a lot about you the past couple of days. And the two words that come across from each one of you are hard work or work hard. And none of you here is afraid of working hard. And I keep telling this to all the new agents and everybody. You get into real estate, you gotta work hard. There's no way about it. There's or around it. There's no shortcuts.
Right.
And what does that hard work mean to you?
Well, you have to. You mentioned this before. It's a really good saying, or it's like we all have the same number of hours in a day,
Right.
but obviously some people accomplish more or a lot more than other people, and it's sort of part of it's how you spend your time, and it's focusing on for the next hour. Like I get into the office, and my goal every day is to get out of the office by 3:00 so I can go to the gym, go home and see my daughter
So
before.
what time do you get in?
I get in around 8, but it's just complete focus. Okay, from 8 to 9, I'm going to go through everything in my inbox and all my follow-ups. And then from 9 to 10, I'm going to go through all my open escrows. And from 10 to 11, I'm just going to lead generate. And I'm at 11.
Right.
I'm going to take my staff out for food trucks when I get back because Monday is food truck day. And that's very important too.
Right.
And I'll get back and I'll have a few things to clean up and I can go home at 3:00, go to the gym, see my kids, and then I can work after they go to bed. But you have to just be laser focused on that. I think when you say hard work, one of the things I look at when I hire new salespeople is if they take more than an hour or two to respond to something, it's really problematic. So it doesn't mean that you have to be working 24 hours a day, but if your clients go 2, 3, 4, 6 hours without hearing from you, they're going to find someone else to do the job.
Correct.
So you don't have to say, okay, well, I'm going to work from 7 p.m. till midnight. You can say, okay, I'm going to be up from 7 till midnight, and I'm not working, but I'm going to check my phone a couple times and make it appear as if I'm working.
Right.
Because all you need to do at 9 p.m. is say, everything's fine, let's talk tomorrow morning, what's good, what time's good for you. You don't have to go and solve a problem.
Right.
So
Thank you. Yeah, this is on your website. It says his reasons for success is hard work, superior market knowledge, and a total domination of the internet market for real estate.
It's good. I like
So
that.
I love that.
News that.
It's funny your comment on, keeping up with them is I've been trying to save a deal right now, and it's been treacherous. 3 different deals hinge on one, right? And so I've been every day, multiple times on the phone with this client, and she's like, every call you have, update me. I'm like, I'm not going to update you every call I have, but I will update you when there's something to update, and I will talk to you at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. So Friday came along, updated her on everything, and I took personal time this weekend. And first thing this morning, I didn't hear from you since Friday. What's the update? There is no update. It was the weekend. Nothing can happen. Escrow's closed.
Right.
I'm on the phone with them now. So it's like they're used to you. You're 24/7. Like you said, you're always available to them, and they freak out if you take any personal time, unless you tell them ahead of time, I'm not available.
Yeah. I think you have to accept that burden because you have to realize that the commission that we get paid is substantial, and for us to say, oh, one escrow is not a big deal because we have so many, it's not right because for them it's their one escrow and they might do 3 in their whole lives. So you have to appreciate that burden. But I think what you're kind of getting to is you have to coach your clients. So I've told a couple clients this year, I've grabbed them by the shoulder and said, you need to calm down. I went to a client's house on Saturday and I'm like, everything is fine. Calm down. And you're not that you're getting angry with them, but you have to be firm with them because they're looking to you for direction.
They're freaking out.
They're looking at you and saying, what's going on? I'm like, everything's fine. We had an inspection. Now we're going to ask for a request for repairs. No big deal. That's all.
End of the world.
Go about your life. I will handle it. That's what I'm here for. And if you can coach them successfully, and that response isn't ideal for everyone, then you can improve what you're saying. You can say, okay, hey, it's Friday, everything's closed. Let's talk Monday afternoon.
Right.
Prior to me getting into real estate, I was a headhunter, and I had to be in the office by 8:00. Could not be late, and we stayed till 5. But to always prove yourself, you stayed later because you're proving yourself stage. I'm so thankful that I'm not chained to have to be somewhere at 8:00 and leave at 5 or stay later, that I always want to do better. I use that as my catalyst throughout my day. So I go into the office almost every day. I have a schedule, I have a routine, to the point that where people, if someone doesn't see me in the office, they'll call me and say, we didn't see you yesterday, are you okay? And it's important you want to collaborate with people in your office. They're going through the same thing that you're going through. They're doing the same kind of deals that you want to do or you should be doing. Keep a schedule and stick to the schedule. Remember, you don't have to be there, but it certainly beats being in a corporate environment. And that's what keeps me and kept me driven so throughout my real estate career is I don't want to go back to a corporate environment. I love the freedom of 1099. And this is where I want to be. And I know I still have to work for it. I've got myself to support. I've got kids to support. That's just what keeps me.
The fear of getting a real job.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fear of.
Well, it's easy to have a paycheck every day, but then you have the chains that go along with that.
Correct.
But there are times when we get so exhausted by what we're doing throughout a day that you get home, you're simply exhausted. But it's a good exhaustion because you're doing something that it's for yourself, it's something that you're passionate about and you have the desire to do it. So it doesn't feel like you've done work for somebody else. It's actually work that gives you that moving forward towards the desire that you had in the beginning, which is what you said, the big why. So, and I remember we kind of talked about this, I'm exhausted to get home. I know, but this is getting you closer to this goal.
There's no magic pill. You got to show up every day. You got to get up every day. Get up at 6. And if you aren't where you at, get up at 5:30. Get up, push yourself, move it. If you aren't doing well, you aren't putting in the hours. You aren't making the calls. Simple as that.
The other thing is that when it gets slow, the market is changing. It changes all the time.
Correct.
In the last multiple years, we saw REOs, we saw short sales like crazy. So you had to be on that when it came out immediately. You had to really start to watch the market and see where it's going and get on it right away, or else you're behind. And so you got to stay on top of things, and so that you have to be the professional, meaning you have to, if you're slow, do research on what's going on.
It's your business. This is your business. You are your own company.
And then Doug Pitts said something really important. He's a number one producer. He's a great guy. We've worked with him. But he said when he first started out, he kept 100 little rocks or something in his pocket or something. He was a young guy. It was 25 years ago. And he said that each time he would mention real estate, or he would be like at Trader Joe's talking to the bagging guy or whatever, he would take a rock and put it in the other pocket because he knew he'd do his job. And so he would, through the day, want to get 100 times something said or done about real estate, no matter what it was. So I always think about him because no matter where we are, I'm constantly. I stalked some girl in the bathroom a few weeks ago. Remember
You
that?
are. I know you're.
No,
you're
it's,
always stuck,
you know,
It makes a difference. It makes a difference. I
Yeah.
mean, Cristian will attest on a personal level. When I
Yeah.
go out, everybody knows I sell real estate.
Yeah.
Every single buddy that I know sells real estate, right down to the guy at the gas station, to the guy that parks in all the valet spots of my
yeah.
favorite restaurants. They all know what I do.
right.
And if they know somebody that knows somebody, they will always tell me. Or they'll give me, and I always tell them, just get me an address. I'll do the rest. Just get me an address.
It's interesting. I was looking at all your Facebook pages, and you all have both work and family on your pages. It's a company, and it literally it's so to the nine. It's like open house, family pages, open house. You know, something to list to sell. It's what it's in your life. It's in your blood. It's wherever you go, you say that. Well, I don't have any more questions. I would like to open up if you guys have any questions. But before you do that, I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to get you out of here before the truck leaves.
Thank you.
But if you have any questions, and then
What a great
right after
idea.
this, we have a
Great
couple of
truck. I
guests that I
love
want to give some time.
Park up right now.
Tracy,
That's
I have
awesome.
a question for you. You said something about your property sitting longer on the market.
Yes.
Now, is it because you said the market is slow in your neighborhood?
I see it's becoming more of a buyer's market, so they're kicking the tires. Back a year ago, things were going much faster, multiple offers. Now, buyers are saying, I'm not really sure. Let me come back later on. I'll come back in a day or two. I'll come back in the evening. I'll check out the neighborhoods. So yeah, it's becoming much more of a buyer's market.
And also how is the pricing also, because that's a lot too. So where your sellers are pushing you for the pricing?
For instance, a home that we had that didn't sell 3 years ago, he had it priced at $500. Now it's worth $639 is what we rolled it out as, but we got multiple offers at like $610. So he's made money in that short time frame, but it took a long time to sit on the market. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Did I answer your question?
So you said, so how long, because when you say when property's on the market for a certain amount of time, you have to drive the price down.
Yeah, but they're making money on the buy.
From the buy,
Yeah.
yeah, but they still don't seem to get it sometimes that, I made money, but they're still thinking that, the market is hot and I should be getting so and so.
That's where you have to present that's where you have to present the numbers. You have to do your job in presenting numbers of what 2 years ago was like and what it is now. And then you also have to interview them at the beginning and say, this is what the market is right now. And so you're going to have to know this going in. And of course, like, Richard said, you have to be somewhat non-emotional and just do your job and the rest will happen. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, and, it doesn't for them.
I think it's also important I don't know anything about what the Calabasas market is doing, but we see here in West LA, greater West LA, it's like different markets are moving. We have some properties that aren't selling and we have some that get 10 offers. So I think a better answer would be you really have to know your own market. And if you're working in Santa Monica or Brentwood, figure out, what are condos in Brentwood doing right now and what are houses in Brentwood doing? Because that could be a totally different answer than what Tracy's seeing or Diana's seeing. Because these are there's a pretty wide area that people are representing here.
Terry?
Absolutely.
And then I'll go to-
In Calabasas, how many days on market do you feel like?
Oh boy, luxury right now is sitting on much longer, definitely. But what we're seeing over there is between the 5 and 8 is moving much faster, or even, lower. You're talking condos, anything 3 and 8 or whatever is moving much faster than, you're looking at good 120, 120, Unless it's priced, when sometimes people say it's priced to sell, but a difference between 2.6 and 2.2, it's not like people are running to get a 2.2 home half the time.
At what point do you ask for the price reduction?
We do it after 21 days. Sometimes 14, depending on what we're seeing as far as showings and how over we are on the price point.
Second price reduction?
It depends on the seller's goals. If the seller is looking to sit it out, or if they found a home of choice, or if it's a business decision, if they need to get out financially. So I think it really depends on the
You just
seller.
have to say to them, if
Yeah.
you want to sell the house, this is what
Quickly.
you have to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to sell the house, that's fine. We don't have to change it, but the market is telling it's not Richard or Diana or Tracy or Debbie or anyone else. The market is telling you. You hired me, I'm doing the marketing you hired me to do. Everything's exposed as the way you decided it should be because you hired me. This is what the market is telling you. And you have to tell them up front, I'm sure you do, when you meet with them, is that it's not a year ago when your neighbor's house got 12 offers the first day. You'll be on the market for, I tell them 30 to 60 days at least. And I tell them a price reduction after 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Up
So you
front.
set the expectations right up front.
You have to, because otherwise the
Correct.
natural inclination is they're going to say, okay,
You're not doing your job.
you're not doing it. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, everything I told you I would do, and you hired me, has been done. I've documented it for you, but the market's not delivering. So,
Mary, you had a question?
I have a question from you, Richard, and I know what do you guys do for marketing?
Broad question.
yeah.
What specifically about marketing?
Yeah.
Marketing that how do you do the lead?
Are you a new agent? Okay, then you should be doing two things. The first thing you should be doing is opening up your phone and maximizing your sphere of influence, because those are the people who will hire you. My business, and I'm sure a lot of your business is based on reputation and clients that we did deals with
Correct.
8 years ago, which doesn't necessarily apply to you. So open up your phone, go on your Facebook, make a database of everyone you know, and start calling them. Go to 2 coffees a week, 3 coffees a week, make 20 calls a day, that type of thing. And then pick something else, from the haven't met class, open houses, door knocking, expireds, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Internet is one of your biggest tools, right?
I do a lot on the internet. When I do lead generation classes, though, I wouldn't tell you to go do what I do on the internet because it's very expensive and it's based on, like I said, it's based on I've done, 700 sales. So I have a lot more than I can advertise based on than you could. And it would be very expensive for you to test out, buying up 20 Zillow zip codes.
Right.
So I'd start with the basics, and sphere of influence is free. And there's no cost for that. And that's still a third of my business, and it's still the best. The biggest deals and the best deals are still the sphere of influence.
Totally agree with what he's saying. If you're just starting out, order 1,000 business cards. Get rid of them in 60 days. Hand them to people. That's where you want to.
65 days?
60 days.
60 days.
60 days.
So you have to make a plan to do it.
Correct.
Okay.
Everything needs a
17 cards a day
Yeah.
for 60 days.
Yeah.
He's doing the numbers.
Wow,
Sorry.
it's
I like
fast.
it.
Go.
I like it.
It's good, Mary.
That'll force you to get in front of people. You can't hide behind a mailer. You can't hide behind. We're in marketing. We're face to face with people, and you've got to be in their faces, and you got to remind them what you're doing. And your business card is the cheapest piece of marketing material you can do. Sure, you'll do your just listed, your just solds, and depending upon the price point, you do all these other. But you've got to get in front of the people. How do you get in front of the people? With your business card and a handshake, and introduce people, and make it a goal to meet 15 people a day.
Every day? Or?
Every day. Well, I do that Monday through Friday. 15 people a
And
day.
weekends are great times to do it. If you have I can't wait till my kids are in soccer.
Oh,
I'm
you're gonna
clean up
love
at
private
soccer.
schools. If anybody of you have young kids in private schools,
We're starting next
that's
month.
a good one. You're gonna love that. That's a whole.
Do you
nother
pay
realm.
for school with the business you get?
Of course,
That's my goal.
Absolutely,
That's my thought
by
process.
By far.
Okay.
That's a huge one. Anybody.
But that's sphere of influence.
Correct. That's what it falls on.
Staying on the subject of lead generation, and how you guys discussed what we need to do to connect with people that we haven't met. How do each of you progress and cultivate that? Because we can connect and we get in touch with someone, whether it's to establish a referral relationship or to, we go to an open house and we meet a buyer and we have a conversation with that person. How do you build that trust so that you have this dialogue with them that can lead to either listing or a buyer's appointment that could lead to an appointment?
That's a whole other class, really. But
Right.
I mean, you have to understand. What I mentioned before is that the average person might only buy and sell 2, 3, 4 times in, let's say, 40 years of lifetime that they're going to be capable of buying or selling a home. So it's relatively rare occurrence in someone's life. So you just have to be there for them. So now that I've done it for 11 years, I see, I met you 7 years ago. And I've kept you my 33 touch and phone calls and emails and everything else. and now you're buying something. So you just have to be prepared for that not everyone you meet is going to want to buy a home tomorrow. But you use that relationship. You might get referrals. I think the most important thing, other than having a plan of contacting people indefinitely, is that you don't want to just call them and say, do you want to buy a house? And they don't care what interest rates are doing.
Correct.
They want to know something interesting about real estate. So don't send out those like happy 4th of July emails. No one wants those. Send them something they want. Call them and don't bug them about real estate. I always tell my new agents, I say, do coffee twice a week with your friends. Don't talk about real estate. Just be friends with them. And they will ask you about real estate.
Everybody asks you about real estate.
Well, I also there was something else I read in a Success magazine, which we utilize as well, is 3 times you give them 3 pieces of information not related to asking them for business, but 3 pieces of information on, say, you're at coffee with a friend and you know something in their neighborhood, a restaurant that's opening up, or you want to make sure and give them something before you ask them for something. So especially, like you said, if you're starting out, you want to give people a little bit about real estate. So start just telling them interesting tidbits about real estate, and then they'll start asking you before you ask them about business. And then, like at school, there are 9 realtors in my daughter's 1st grade class. It's the craziest thing.
You have to transfer schools.
Yeah. So everybody, always kind of, I don't say a word about real estate. People end up asking me something, just something off the cuff. And then they're like, oh, you're in real estate? I'm like, oh, yeah, but I never say a word. Usually if they ask me something, that's if you're in a large number of realtors.
Right.
The best advice, I just have to say, educate yourself, know your stats.
Yes.
People trust you when you don't talk out of your ass and you talk with educated statistics. Everyone wants to know how the market's doing. They don't care about the interest rates. They saw that on the news in the morning. Talk about what's selling in that area. What's the percentage of increase over last year? Give them some tidbit of information that they didn't know. You will come across like automatically what you're doing, and they will trust you. When you provide someone with knowledge, they trust you. So give them something. Give them something that somebody else can't or is too lazy to do the work for.
Don't go out making them feel like you're after the commission check only. You're
Correct.
there to serve. We're a service industry.
You're a smart person.
Yeah.
Let them know that.
We're
not
here to
sales,
service
we're
them and
professionals.
provide. Yeah, we're providing service to them. So we have to show our use to them. They have to see why do they want to work with me? And it's
Correct.
relationship based. We can all be the same realtor. We do the same thing. But one person's going to like me and not Diana, or they're going to like Diana and not me. And you can't take that personally,
Correct. It's the trust. They're going
it's
to
a
trust
trust.
somebody else over you, and you should still look at that and say, okay, what did they have,
What are they doing?
or what did they portray to that person that got them? If I lose a listing or if I've lost a buyer, I will look at myself and say, what did I do? What did I miss? What did I miss? And I will, I'll critique myself in a good way, just so that I can take that and not do that again.
Wow. If I were in your place, I'm like, I don't know what else to write down.
But
It's
in the,
so
in the
many
relationship
things to-
building,
I'm very passionate
in the
about it.
relationship building, if you've heard all of them speaking to your question, it's not a quick thing. You can get lucky and get a couple deals in your first year, but it's it takes about 5 years to get repeat business. That's 5
Correct.
years
Correct.
of constant working to have somebody resell, go buy something bigger, do something, refer you to somebody. That's why your database is very important and following up on it. If you have a lead, don't ever let them go. You just keep up with them, because it's very easy to get busy in your one transaction you're working and then you neglect the other ones. And then guess what? You don't have a paycheck next month.
Last question from Randolph.
A lot of agents, newer agents, are sitting open houses and they get the developer client, the investor client that comes in. I was wondering, what was your early success, or is it worth the time that you put into it, the developer find me a deal type of client?
100%.
Hell yeah,
100%.
that's the number.
They aren't devoted.
Investors and
Developers
developers.
are not devoted to one real estate agent.
No.
They may do 7, 8, 9, 10 deals with them, but that you bring them a deal, you will get
Yeah.
it. Just remember that.
No,
There is-
We have
Definitely
a
worth
policy. If someone calls and says the word deal, or they use the term ARV or anything in that family, we basically delete them, because we're looking for people who want to hire us for our relationship. If someone calls and says, I want a deal, Well, if I had a deal, I would buy it myself, but I don't. You
Who
know,
doesn't want a deal?
my job is to represent my sellers and to get them top dollar, not to hand you profit because I'm tricking someone out of it. So we don't work in that. You know.
Very good.
Although
Just to follow up with that, just because it usually does take a lot of time to find what those qualities are, a deal is, or what the development project is going to be ideal for that person, it can take a lot of time as opposed to someone who's buying their own house. So your suggestion is that you should put in the time, or
Look,
you should be looking for
you
your type of
find
clients.
that deal, you'll sell it to anybody. Who cares
Yeah,
if
but
he's
you don't need
around?
that
But if
developer.
you're, I look at it like this. If I meet a developer tomorrow and he'll say, you know, right away, I want, you know, this, and it's got to be, you know, great views. It's got to be, you know, located in Truesdale. Call me when you have it. And I think, okay, why? Why should I call you? What are you gonna?
If
You know,
I have
what
that,
are
it's
you
gonna
gonna? Do you have
sell.
cash? Do you have this? I then turn around and start interviewing them.
Right.
Why? Why do I want to give it to you? I know like 8 other people just like you. What is it about you that I should do this
call me
for?
and I'll buy it.
Yeah. But that's how you. I mean, you got to interview them too.
Although just to add to that, I do a lot of investment brokerage, and I really focus on selling investments to clients. Like someone can buy $1 million house, they can buy a $400,000 rental property. I think that's a great business, but I would agree with you and stay away
But the
from
ones that
the.
contact you going, I'm a developer and I buy, and they send out the mass email.
No, those I don't do.
Yeah,
I do
don't
the
do
ones that I
those.
meet at the open house that
Yeah.
specifically come to meet me because they've seen my name around and they'll say, you know, and they'll let me know, we came here, we want to introduce ourselves, this is what we do, keep me in mind. I'll ask them a couple questions, but I'll go out, it kind of gives me, you know, it reminds me to keep that fire under me, to make sure that I'm always looking for that property too for sale. And often I'll get listings of it that won't work for them, but it was that fire that lit me.
And in the database, Randolph, there, you know, I have investment flippers or buy and hold investors. And so if something comes up, I just mass email it out to them. And if they want to come see it, then they come see it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go hunt things down for them though.
But also, if you're new, you can give a little bit of time to that because you never know. And, you know, if you're new, you need to be out there. You need to be showing. You need to be doing that. And it kind of keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, it starts with a big why. It starts with desire to succeed with your family in mind. And there's so many ahas that you can take from today's conversation. I know if I were a new agent right now, I would just get to work like right after this meeting because there's so much that I learned from you today. So I hope you guys took a lot of notes, and I just wanted to thank you once again for your time. And if you guys want to hang out after the meeting, you can ask some questions. But I want to give.